Welcome to Daily Gains. I'm Dave Joseph,
I'm Jeremy.
and we're excited to share the word with you as we meditate on the truth that is before us. So let's get started. 1 John 3:4. Everyone who practices sin also practices lawlessness,
Everyone who practices sin also practices lawlessness,
and sin is lawlessness.
and sin is lawlessness.
May God bless the reading, hearing, out of his word.
Amen.
Amen.
What do you think this verse is trying to tell us?
Okay, so I think it's hinting at what I was talking about earlier as far as sin being too neat of a word for what it is. I think, I was talking to my son this morning. I told him it should be like 30 letters long, all caps, 15 exclamation points.
Right.
Like sin should express the cost, how God can't stand it, be near it, how, death, eternal death is the cost of it. It should just be bigger than 3 letters. And lawlessness is a much better word, and yet it still doesn't cover all of what sin is.
Lawlessness makes me think like you rapscallion, you scoff law, you...
Look, I do think, though, for me, at least this verse, the thing that really stands out actually is the word practice. What you practice is what you do. Often people say practice makes perfect. It's not really true unless you're practicing it perfectly. Practice, you practice something bad, you're going to do it bad. That's just how it is. You practice cooking, and you always use salt instead of sugar. That's your habit. You practice it. You're going to ruin a lot of food. There's not anything you can do.
And your health.
Well, I'm just saying that's your practice. So, doctors practice a lot too, and they hopefully get better. It's a practice. My hope is that you're not practicing sin. My hope is that you're actually avoiding sin. And in this case, if you are practicing it, the fruit of your practice is lawless. It's something where you're striving to get better at disobedience. And so if you're striving to get better at disobedience, you're a lawbreaker. That's what you desire. And yes, you said rapscallion. I thought cowboys, because my grandfather loved, and I mean loved, Ponderosa and the other so lifelike cowboy movies that he would watch at no end. I'm sure there's a country western part of heaven, at least for movie watching. Anyway, that was a good digression. You have to recognize that when you practice something, it often starts off slow. I was talking about this earlier as well. It just takes 1 or 2 of anything, and then as you build a habit, you get better at it. And so if you're practicing sin, you can get so good at it, you don't even realize you're doing it.
Right, that's called being a lawyer.
We're really throwing shade today. We've offended how many people this morning? Anyway, if you, and I pray that you will today, examine your heart to see, what are you practicing? Are you practicing the fruit of the Spirit? Are you practicing peace, love, patience, long-suffering? Like, are you practicing it? Not do you know about it? Or am I actually practicing sin? Am I practicing the things that I know I'm supposed to do, even if I'm not doing them fully? Am I reading the word and sharing it? Right? I might not be at the space of standing on the corner and sharing my testimony, but can I at least practice sharing it with family members? Can I practice sharing it with, have I even written my story for what God has done in my life? How he's changed me? Like, am I getting to that space of being public with a relationship, or is it always a secret about this thing I do with God in the prayer closet, and I call myself a super saint? It is important that you do have that space for prayer where you commune with God. So I'm not making light of it. It is also important that your faith make it into the spaces that are public. If your faith is one where no one knows what you believe at work, I'm very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
If your faith is one where people don't know what you believe in your community, I'm very concerned. If they don't know their neighbors with a follower of Christ, then I have to ask, what are you practicing?
There's no MI5 or CIA for Christianity.
Not to my knowledge.
Darn.
I mean, only fallen angels were the ones that were the sneaky ones. The other ones seem to just show up and be loud. There's nothing to fear, so why not?
How does this verse start?
Now you're messing with me again. It's not a long verse. You really want me to say it?
Yeah, just the first part.
Everyone who practices sin also practices lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. That's the whole verse.
Yeah.
Everyone who practices sin also practices lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness.
As if it wasn't clear from the first statement.
Everyone who practices.
But this is coming on the heels of that everyone who has this hope staying on them purifies himself.
Yes. And everyone who has this hope, set on him purifies himself, just as he is pure.
And so we have this dichotomy being set up again by John. We talked about these dichotomies in chapters 1 and 2. We have this dichotomy between being pure, as he is pure, or being lawless. Again, remember, John's already talked about the Antichrist, and many Antichrists have already come. They are not of us, and they proved it by leaving out of our midst. And now we're back to this idea of lawlessness. When the whole idea of Antichrist and the man of lawlessness kind of go together in John's way of thinking. He's going to talk about it here, and he's going to talk about it in the book of Revelation. So there's this one or the other choice that's being set up here. And he then kind of doubles down in this verse, right? Everyone who practices sin practices lawlessness. Oh, by the way, just in case you were wondering, all sin is lawlessness. It's kind of open and shuts that door really fast. Again, just as a reminder of where we're going. In the next paragraph, we're going to talk all about sin. So John's highlighting here, starting with what our identity is, who it is that we've been called to be, who he is who called us, that he has made us pure, that he calls us to purify ourselves, and on the other side of that, that must affect the way we live in the way that we practice. And that's the challenge for me. Because I don't think of myself as like a cerebral Christian. I don't simply think about the things of God and theology and philosophy. I want it to be demonstrable in the way I live my life and relationships I have to the people around me, just as you were talking about. Like if the people who live around me don't know I'm Christian, I'm doing something very wrong. You've already said that. I completely agree with it. That's how I want my life to be. I want my life to be an open epistle in that way. I want to be proclaiming the good news of God's love and reconciliation that's possible because of Christ everywhere I go. But as we've already talked about, that requires an intentional practice of behaviors set in place in my life that I continue to go back to and do. And it's not just behaviors. It's a way of thinking, a way of seeing, a way of evaluating the world around me, a way of choosing to respond. And that's hard. That is hard. I get tired of it. I get disillusioned with it at times. And I'm reminded here by this verse very correctively that to not practice this is, in fact, to live lawlessly, which I kind of want to not do. This is a challenge for me. This is a big challenge. As much as I love verses 1 and 2, this verse is equally heavy in that respect, in how it lays out a very clear point of reflection for me to stop and say, am I really doing what I believe I'm doing? Or am I deceiving myself? Because it goes back to pay attention. Behold what type of love God has given to us, that we should be called his children. it carries through in your practice. And that's mostly directed at me. I want to thank you for joining us today. If you want to go through a proverb, you can go back to seasons 1 or 2 and listen to a proverb at noon today. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow.